Welcome to ZuluNet. This is going to be hopefully our first video. We've had some issues with our attempts so far, technical wise. But yeah, no, anyways, if you're tuning in, you're awesome. We're just going to give you a little rundown on like why we're here. I guess a little channel intro. Why we're here, what we're doing, what we want to do, general concepts, our motivations, what gets us up in the morning. Probably not that one. But anyways, so if you're tuning in, we'll probably have at least one like battle report video up like when this hits, so that it's not just this. Anyways, you can see how well we're gonna have this planned out. But no. So seriously, what we're doing with this channel, we're doing something. It's all centered right now around something we're calling Tactical Warhammer and the Great Game. So Tactical Warhammer and the Great Game. Tactical Warhammer is a mod on Warhammer 40k. We're just tweaking a few things here and there. I guess where I got the idea was I wanted to try and make the game more realistic, if you will. But when I say Tactical Warhammer and a little bit of your insider knowledge, what grabs you? Like, what do you think of as to like why we're doing it or what it accomplishes? Just based on the name? Yeah, just based off the name. Just based off like what. Like, we haven't told anyone anything about it yet.
Nice.
Have fun with it.
Based on the name, like tactical, I'm thinking in your battles, that's where your tweaking is. Like, you changed it from a slug out to more tactics based.
Right. By the way, I'm Patrick. This is Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
I don't think we hit that, but now we have.
And here we are.
Yeah, so tweaking specifically the battle. So I guess now would be as good a time as ever to tell you what in the crap have we tweaked? What are we doing? So the gist of it, all right, is we are doubling the range of every weapon except for pistols. Pistols, you add half of the original value. So if you're starting off with a 12-inch pistol range, then half of that is 6. So you add 6 to 12, equaling 18 inches. So now your pistols are 18 instead of like 24 if you're doubling everything, right? So we're doing that. We're also adding a couple terrain rules, or some terrain rules / terrain, interaction rules. The first one being you can choose to go to ground, and what that means is after you move your infantry unit, and this is it's nothing that you want. It's not like the big guys like Terminators, right? They can't go to ground.
Guys with jump packs.
Yeah. It's just like your regular infantry dude. Like, I don't know if you can see him, but like Joe Schmo here. But not this guy, right? Or this guy, right? I mean, if you feel like this dude could like effectively kind of hide behind a tree-ish, maybe, or use it for cover, then he can go to ground. Common sense.
Or go prone.
Right, exactly. He's the
and
Terminator.
Still be able to fight.
You're right. And so they go to ground. You can choose to go to ground after you shoot. Then you can't. If you do so, then you can't. Right, before you shoot. After you move. I'm sorry. Then if you do so, then you can't advance, and you can't. That's my kid. If you can hear him crying, he's having a hard time right now. So yeah. Golly, sorry, we're getting away from this. Go to ground. You can choose it after you move. If you do, then you gain 1 to your ballistic skill. You gain 1 to your ballistic skill. And you gain 1 to your cover save. Then you can hunker down, and that can be a reaction to your enemy shooting at you. And hunker down is you gain 2 to your cover save, but then you are shooting snapshots after that. The idea being you're hiding in a hole and you're just like blind firing because there's all of this massive amount of firepower coming your direction. You just want to make it to the next thing, right?
Well, I guess this edition would be Ballistic Skill 6. They don't really have snapshots anymore.
Right. So yeah, you're hitting on a 6-up, period. End of story. That's where we're at on Hunker Down. Then there's concealment now. So if you are concealed by like trees or whatnot, then it is 1 harder for your enemy to hit you.
Suffering a -1 to their ballistic skill.
Right. Suffering -1. And then, what else? That's it. Yeah. So.
Movement.
Yeah, and then movement, if you're moving over like difficult terrain, then basically the way that we've worked this one out, instead of using like the older rules where you roll for it, you just take 25% off of the original move value and you round up. So if your move value is 6, then you take 25% off and you're going to end up with 5 inches basically. If you round up, so on and so forth. 4, you're going to end up with 3. But if your move is like 12 inches, then you end up with what, 9?
Yeah.
9. Yeah. So that's what we're doing. Why?
Well, with the scale of this game, like, you're shooting a rifle 24 inches. That's nothing.
Hold on. Where'd you put that tape measure?
Okay.
You got it? Yeah. 24 inches. Like, to scale, that's nothing. And you're talking about a rifle.
A 2-inch model.
2-inch model.
Is only able to shoot 24 inches away.
Right. That's when you consider like the effective range of just like an M4 is like 550 yards or something like, or meters. Which one is it? I don't know. Anyway, it's a heck of a lot farther than that. How that scales out to be. So even if you did double the range, so 24 inches, right, becomes 4 feet from the 48 inches. Even then, your scale is way smaller than what it would actually be. So really, we're opening that up to kind of bring that. If you're shooting with freaking guns at your enemy, you're going to be able to do it farther than 24 inches if you're this little guy. Basically, that's all it is. And honestly, with that, man, that just changes the game completely. Really, like I don't know. It's interesting because it changes the game, but it doesn't really change the game that much. Like it changes in a really good way, I think.
Right, and your first worry is like, oh my gosh, you're doubling the range of all weapons. Close combat armies, they're done for, right? But they're not.
Yeah.
Because you also have concealment.
Mm-hmm.
You can hunker down.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only that, but you double your range, but your opponent also doubles his range.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so all it really does is it forces you to use your cover better. It forces you to avoid essentially just running your dudes out in the open and then doing something that would be in real life tactically suicidal. You have way stronger incentive to avoid doing that sort of thing. But also, that being said, all right, we doubled the range, and now just like a regular 10 squad or 10-man tactical squad Space Marines who used to be just complete chumps now can do a little bit more. With the go to ground and the hunker down, that also like evens out things a little bit better. Yeah. You know, where if you have, and I think too, a really big portion of it, because these are, we didn't really say, but the go to ground, we kind of touched on it, but the go to ground, the hunker down, all that only applies to those infantry models that it makes sense to apply to. Right. You're right. Now, this is like an infantry mod. Maybe you could think of it like that, right? I mean, yeah, you're doubling the range on everything, but these changes, these little tweaks here, make infantry so much more of a player on the battlefield now.
Yeah.
Because they can go to some key terrain, a nice little hill that has that you can now, with your doubled range, you can reach all, if not, or most, if not all of the board, right? Go there, and then you can just go to ground and just stay there. And now your enemy has to deal with that. It's not just like, oh yeah, they just hold down an objective I don't care about. Like, no, they can actually kind of screw you up.
Yeah, lay some fire on you.
Yeah. I think it's cool. I mean, because that is the strength of infantry in real life, is that they can hide behind things, right? They can do stuff that a giant tank cannot. A giant tank can do stuff that an infantryman cannot. Sure, but when you factor in terrain, how it really would be, you can't drive a tank everywhere, and you can't hide a tank hardly. Period.
Anywhere, yeah.
Ever, anywhere. But you can hide a dude with a sniper rifle really, really freaking well.
Yeah.
And you can move that dude anywhere. Anywhere. And that's the strength of infantry. That's why you still have infantry. We don't just have armies just only of tanks and fighter planes and stuff, because entrenched infantry is really, really hard to get out of where they are if you need to do that. And I so far with our gameplays or our test plays, I've loved it.
Yeah,
I've loved it. It's, for me personally, what got me into 40K and tabletop games in general was the idea of like, oh wow, this is like, as a kid growing up playing some video game and thinking like some sort of thing in the video game that just didn't really make sense, didn't square with what I felt like how it would really happen. Or you get the dude that just runs out and in the middle of the open, and he just has a better hand-eye coordination, so therefore he can do that, which in real life would be, again, tactically suicidal, and still be successful at the game.
Right.
I can enjoy a game for what it is, but when it comes down to, for me, the reason why I got into Tactical Warhammer 40K was I saw this opportunity to kind of recreate this sort of big, large-scale battle, how at the time I thought, oh wow, that's really how it would be.
Yeah. And
it really didn't end up that way. It just became, to me, instead of becoming like a way to realize that specific dream, it just became, oh well, this is a game. This is how the game is played, and you're going to do plenty of things that in real life would not make sense, but that's what makes sense in the game, so you're going to do those things.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, this whole Tactical Warhammer thing has really, really rekindled that fire that I had for my whole reason for getting into tabletop games.
Right.
I mean, what's your take so far on, like, from your previous experience and now with Tactical Warhammer?
Well, my previous experience, I played tournaments. I started in the 6th edition of Warhammer 40K.
7th, myself.
Yeah, I played tournaments in 6th and 7th, and just like, I really was disappointed in the value of infantry, especially, your just regular troop choices.
Yeah, you're Space Marines.
You're doing with them, you put them on objective, or you go contest an objective. That's all they're doing. You're not really going to kill anything with them.
Yeah. That's the only reason you have to take them, is to the troop special rule, so they can hold down an objective.
You're required to take them for your army in order to have your army composition.
Yeah.
Plus, they're good at taking objectives.
Yeah, it's like the weird uncle, or like the redheaded stepchild that you don't really want to take along, but you have to.
His mom said.
Yeah, because mom said. Like, it's the kid that you have to play with, because if you don't, then you're going to get in trouble.
They can take 2 special weapons.
Oh, yeah. That don't do jack.
And you can have one
that you just
close
consistently
combat
miss with.
specialist. You know, that sergeant, he can be a close combat specialist.
Yeah.
The rest of the guys, they suck at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and another thing, too, that that I found, and again, I mean, we're fans, obviously, we're fans of Warhammer 40k. We're not trashing Warhammer 40k or any of that stuff. Don't get the wrong impression from us. But this is just us kind of remaking this a little bit. Just slight little tweaks in the image that we feel like is a cool way to go, And this is just a mod. Take it or leave it, But one of the things, too, that I found almost immediately disenchanting with Warhammer 40k is when I realized that to be able to reach the competitive level, the sheer money you had to put into it to meet that, like, whatever the meta is. Because, like, Warhammer 40k, if you're not in the meta ballpark, like, you're not gonna win.
No.
You're not gonna even come close to winning. Like, you gotta be somewhere in that meta, and I found that just because, like, I didn't have all the money in the world to throw at it, and it was like, cool, I found infantry fascinating, and the whole idea of, like, the breakdown of, like, an infantry company with, like, I got my nerd off on Imperial Guard, really hardcore, or the idea of a Space Marine battle company, because of the organization, like the idea that I'm going to send this squad to go take that hill, and I'm going to send this squad with heavy weapon support to go take that hill, and just to realize, like, you only got infantry? Cool, dude. Like, you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And just that whole aspect of it just completely, like, you need all of these things, again, that just don't, like tactically make sense. Sorry about that. We're working with a new camera and had some difficulties. So anyways, where were we? Yeah. So I was talking about, with this, I feel like if someone used the Tactical Warhammer rule set / mod, whatever you want to call it, then players that are just getting into the game, that buy whatever starter pack that comes out, that virtually has nothing in there that you would really need except for, like, maybe one character that you would use in a competitive army. Right. But it has a bunch of really cool miniatures, really cool, like, the theme of it, super cool, and what gets everyone hooked into 40k, which is great miniatures, great lore, great theme, all of that. Well, now they could take that and they could throw it into a tactical Warhammer game, and now you've got some stuff to work with.
Yeah. That was something actually in almost every game I've played, where it's any sort of competitive, any tabletop game. If I have something I want to play, but there's no room for it in the meta, it won't work in the meta, I will either stubbornly press on and make it work, or I'll just lose interest in the game. I did that with Armada.
Yeah.
That's probably the best example for me losing interest in a game. I wanted to fly just Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
Local meta, I don't know what it was, regional meta or national meta or anything like that, but I know my local meta was, you fly those squadrons. If you don't have enough squadrons, you just lose.
Yeah.
If you don't win the squadron battle, you just lose.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to play squadrons.
Yeah.
I play X-Wing to play my squadrons.
Right.
I wanted to play with those capital ships.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was completely disenchanted.
Yeah.
Warhammer 40k, I started losing interest in probably halfway through 7th is like, and then especially in 8th, because I liked Death Stars from 6th edition.
Yeah.
I had a great time with that, even when I'd lose. I just enjoyed it. But then they went away from Death Stars, understandably, but I couldn't play the units I played before, the units I wanted to play, the units I had invested in, and started to get disenchanted. Oh, you want to be competitive? You got to buy all the flyers now, or you got to buy our new kits. Like, look, yeah, I want to buy the new kits. They're great. I want to buy more flyers. They're cool. But I want to play the game with the models that you have made that I want to play with.
Right. Yeah, and that's, again, we're not freaking kicking on anyone's dandelions here. We're not trying to. Like, no. If 40K how it is your jam,
great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Like,
I'm glad.
There's so many different games out there to go play that if you get freaking funneled into one and then get upset and walk away from gaming period, tabletop gaming or miniature gaming period, because this one game doesn't work out, like, you're doing something wrong. Yeah. Like, there's so many other games to go explore and find your niche, find what you enjoy. Or you could do like what we're doing, make little nudges here and there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's you mentioned X-Wing, and we met playing X-Wing in the X-Wing group that we got here, and we both have very similar styles in how we play, what we choose, and all that jazz. But I love X-Wing because of the balance that it has currently. And this is a little bit into 2.0. But I have played and have been completely, like, fulfillingly successful, at least in my little group, with literally just playing ships that were in, if you know anything about X-Wing 2.0 or X-Wing, there was X-Wing 1.0, now there's X-Wing 2.0, and they released a whole bunch of, like, these upgrade packs, or these, what do they call them?
Packs,
yeah, upgrade packs, with all the new, like, cardboard and stuff, because they were basically changing the whole system, and it was, like, $50, but you could retroactively bring, essentially, your whole collection up to 2.0 standards. I bought that. They have after the fact, released a whole bunch of other factions and other little ships and upgrades and stuff, and I've been fulfillingly successful with only what was in the original one.
Yeah.
I haven't had to get a single 2.0 upgrade to show up to a tournament and easily be in position to win it. The games that I have lost have not been because of my list. They've been because I screwed it up.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that it's not that there's room for tactical finesse. There's room for, like, outmaneuvering your opponent. There's all that room for your personality to come in.
Yeah.
It's like, I like to do this. I'm really good with this, so this is what I bring, and I can do good with it. Right. Because this is me. This is my extension of my personality or how I think or whatever.
And you don't just lose from the start because you didn't bring right there.
Yeah, you bring what you love and you're passionate about and what got you in. And you paint the models and you think they're so cool and spend hours just looking at them. And then you get crushed just utterly with, like, no remorse.
Yeah. Table by turn 3.
Yeah, like turn 3. And immediately, like, you just have that sinking feeling right away, like, oh, this is gonna be brutal, Hey man, that's your jam, rock it, But we want to do something different with the foundation of 40K, and we're trying to use as much as, or not trying to use. That's the wrong way to look at it. We're trying to not change as much as possible, right, if you will. Like, we're trying to be as pure to it as possible. But yeah, just make the little tweaks where we feel like it's necessary. And hopefully, you'll check out the other videos, the battle reports, and you'll see kind of what we're doing. We're going to include the rules. We're not going to be stingy about that or anything. We're going to include all the rules so that you can take it's going to be in the description. You can take that document and you can take it home and play it and check it out for yourself.
And for those of you worried about Man, I don't know. Close combat really sounds like it's losing out. Games we played, close combat armies have won.
Yeah, they got in. They got in. And granted, we've played with more terrain than I guess you would normally see out. But I don't know, have we?
I wouldn't say more terrain, maybe more line of sight obstructing terrain.
Yeah.
But definitely not more terrain.
Yeah, but it's like you just have the one tactical squad that gets in a good position, goes to ground, and now it's impossible to freaking kill unless you assault it. So just by that, you see that close combat is necessary in tactical Warhammer.
Absolutely.
It's necessary because at times that is the only way to get some freaking stupid tactical squad out of where they are so that you can move your other dudes. Because if you move your other dudes without getting that tactical squad out, they're just going to get smoked.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love it. I'm so excited. So excited. Great game. What is a great game?
Very simply, it's a custom campaign for Warhammer 40k.
Yeah. Basically. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's... Alright, hold on. Now, when we say campaign, we're actually talking about... So basically, imagine Risk, like big God's Eye view, or Game of Thrones board game. I think would be more accurately, like, I don't know, close to kind of what we're doing here. Which is a great freaking game, by the way. Check that out. Free little plug there.
Starting to make us look like Fantasy Flight fanboys.
Is that Fantasy Flight 2?
It is.
Oh gosh. Never mind, take that back. So imagine like, all we're trying to do with Great Game is we are trying to apply a strategic level to tactical Warhammer.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So imagine if you're just playing a cool board game that was like Risk or something, where you have your armies and you move them around and you're fighting for control and economy on the board. But then when your armies fight, then we go into the battle imagine just a Warhammer 40k on the Warhammer 40k table, right? Except for it's going to be tactical Warhammer, obviously. And each little army has their retinues of dudes, and that's like fixed. There's ways to generate more. It's just like you ever played Rome Total or any Total War game? You've ever played any freaking board game? Like it's just a board game,
right?
But then you have a tactical play out of every battle,
right? Instead of just rolling dice to see, I won this battle, or playing some cards. I won this battle.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know what I'm more excited about, honestly. And also too, the great game, what that means to us, or at least to me. Like, I don't know if I should speak for Kyle or not, but what that means is it's not just a tactical Warhammer thing. Like, we're going to get other games involved with this channel, and we're going to the games that fit, that are appropriate, we're going to try and do the same thing. Like, one of the things we were talking about was Team Yankee. I've got a crap ton of Team Yankee stuff. And then it's going to look differently because it's a different game and it's a different feel. Team Yankee, which is like 1980s Cold War gone hot, right? So you're talking Abrams tanks and T-64s and stuff like that, right? It's going to have a different feel. But, again, just trying to add the strategic level. And pro tip strategy is like your macro, your economy, your supply lines, your logistics. Like, if I move this army too far, like on the map, then there's a freaking mountain range in the way, or there's there's this giant lake that I have to figure out. Like, that's strategy. If I go here, then I negate, like that strategy. Tactical is like on the battle. If I've moved this squad here, then I can freaking shoot at this other squad, or I can flank. Stuff like that's tactical. So just to clarify, I think those two terms get thrown around a lot, especially tactical. And both of them, really. Like, I play strategy board games, or I'm tactical. Like it gets thrown around a lot, and sometimes those terms need to be defined. But yeah, no, so with the great game, we're not going to go into the rules because there's a lot. And again, we're going to provide the rules. And another thing too, I think that's important to mention, is that we're not, when we throw something up, when when we put some documents down with rules and stuff like that, like it's not freaking written in stone, like a lot of this, we're just getting started, and we're gonna feel it out. We're gonna tweak this here and here, a little fine tuning, or even just completely getting rid of a certain mechanic because we realize, oh wow, this doesn't scale right, or this ends up kind of being dumb,
or it breaks the game.
Yeah, breaks the game. You're like, wow, you just won the game because you just did that really stupid, cheesy thing,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're not gonna paint ourselves into a corner as far as that goes. So be flexible. If you're freaking jumping in on this bandwagon and you're like, wow, this sounds amazing, and I'm going to be there, I'm going to watch every video, first of all, we freaking love you, and also be flexible. Be flexible. Things are going to change. It's okay.
And if you catch something that you think, like, man, that's really not going to work out, let us know.
Let us know. Yeah. Like, we're not gonna, like, we're gonna read the comments. We're gonna, if you got a game that you think this would be a really cool concept and you want to see if we can check it out, like, put that in the comments too. Like, we're open to see where this thing goes. Like, we've got some long-term vision for this channel and for some other stuff going on that we think is going to be really, really freaking cool. And we're very excited. And, I guess that is a good place to wrap it up. But yeah, I mean, we hope you guys get in on the ride and ride along and have a good time. And we're hoping to have a good time. And we welcome you to the channel. We welcome you to ZuluNet. Hopefully soon you will see more that we have to offer. And like and subscribe and do all the YouTube stuff.
All right.